From South Carolina Public Radio, this is the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on February 13th, Friday the 13th, 2026, here in South Carolina Public Radio Studios in Columbia. And you'll be hearing this on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, my loves. I mean, my little leaders. my lead loves. On this episode of The Lead, we have a major endorsement in the governor's race for real this time. A different statewide elected office. Attorney General Alan Wilson drops a new campaign ad. We recap the major activity from week 5 of the legislative session. And we have our first 2026 deep dive.
2026 Watch.
Yes, I talked with all of the candidates who are running for governor about how they would work with the legislature. And Senator Lindsey Graham heads to Munich as funding for the Department of Homeland Security lapses. Just a little partial shutdown, yeah. Sorry for the House members that wanted to go to Munich. Only the senators are going. Sorry. One place you can always go is the State House Gavel at scetv.org/the gavel, where Tuesday through Friday, Mayan Schechter and myself bring you recaps, previews, big and small State House moments, meeting schedule highlights, photos, videos, and more. And of course, I'm incorporating some of that into the pod because there's a lot of crossover. You can cross over.
Oh, wow, man.
And get on the podcast.
No way.
Not Heaven's Gate style. Come to the wine down section at 803-563-7169. It's your chance, Fancy. Don't let me down, to tell me what's on your mind. You can tell us your secrets, what you want to know. 803-563-7169. We'd love to hear from you. All right, let's kick it off with a major campaign trail announcement. Another major endorsement. That's right. On Wednesday, the Associated Press's Meg Kennard, longtime friend of the pod, got the exclusive interview that Governor Henry McMaster was endorsing his Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette to succeed him.
Oh, my God.
Who would have thought? McMaster made it official on Thursday in a video message as well as a press conference with about 100 supporters who watched on. Now, that endorsement ramps up pressure in the contested Republican race that will be decided in the June 9th primary, but possibly during the June 23rd runoff. We'll see. There are a total of 5 Republicans competing, as you know, to take the governor's mansion, including Evette, Attorney General Alan Wilson, 1st District Congresswoman Nancy Mace, 5th District Congressman Ralph Norman, and Spartanburg Senator Josh Kimbrell. So you're telling me we've seen this before, right? McMaster endorses, and then President Donald Trump endorses. At least that was the case with Cody Simpson for Ag Commissioner, right? So will he do it? TBD. My magic 8-ball has been broken since 2016, guys. Okay? I'm sorry, it's not working. There's no more liquid left in it because I shook it so much. But POTUS does have some love for the governor, back to when he was lieutenant governor, and McMaster endorsed Trump in 2016, becoming the first statewide elected official in the country to do so. You guys know this story.
Yes.
Trump returned that support when he nominated then-Governor Nikki Haley to be his ambassador to the United Nations, triggering McMaster's ascension to the governor's office in January 2017. Later that year, McMaster picked Evette, a relatively unknown Travelers Rest businesswoman, as his running mate. That was before the 2018 primaries, and she became the first lieutenant governor elected on a joint ticket with the governor. That's because they changed the law to make them run together, which is crazy to think that they didn't do that before, but they changed it. Here's the governor.
And with a leader like Pam, she has learned about government. She has been my eyes and ears. She has given me advice. She has carried our message. She has taught the talk. She's walked the walk, talked the talk. She's done the things necessary. I trust her. I believe in her. And I like her family too. South Carolina has been winning. We need to keep winning with Pamela Evette as our next governor. Thank you.
Now, Evette fielded questions from the media following the announcement Thursday, and I asked her about the significance of this endorsement on the race.
This is an amazing endorsement. Governor McMaster, longest-serving South Carolina governor, as you heard me say, the most popular governor South Carolina has had, and his endorsement is the biggest endorsement in the state of South Carolina. And it means a lot to me that he has the confidence in me to continue with this amazing run that we've had the last 8 years. One of common sense, one of conservative principles, one that has taken South Carolina to the new and the next heights.
Eva called McMaster a mentor, and she's essentially learned everything about governing and politics from McMaster, who has been around state politics for more than 50 years. I mean, McMaster was working with Strom Thurmond back in the 70s. He became U.S. Attorney for the state back in 81 under Reagan, guys. He's been around. Savvy enough to endorse Trump. Also, when he didn't win the runoff in 2010, he endorsed Nikki Haley. And look how that turned out. All right, he knows what he's doing here. He knows what he's doing here. McMaster's endorsement comes 7 months after Evan announced her bid to succeed him. So why now?
We want to get everybody, this momentum we had has been great since I announced in July. This just continues to roll with it. You know, when the governor says this is time to get moving and time to go, and I want to get out there and help you and work with you. And I was more than honored to have him come on now. And I think it doesn't matter when the governor gives his endorsement. It means a lot. Like I said, it's the #1 most sought after endorsement in the state of South Carolina.
Yes, most sought after endorsement in the state. But what about
the big one?
The one from the leader of the country, the leader of the Republican Party, the leader who has redefined the Republican Party, the President Donald Trump. You guys knew, I mean, come on, you know where I was going with that, right? Come on. Does Evan know if that's in the offing? Something that she has hinted at for months? Something all of the candidates want? The defining endorsement of this campaign?
Well, the president is in charge of the free world and doing a great job at it. And so we always talk to the administration. When the president decides it's the right time to do it, he will. I have said since the beginning of this race that everybody should be honored to have his endorsement, but nobody should expect it. President Trump has done exactly what he said he was going to do when he ran. When the American people came out for him and voted him unanimously in every swing state and the popular vote and the electoral vote, he said he was going to stand for American business and American workers. He said he was going to close the border, which he has done. And he was going to turn our economy around from 4 years of a failed Biden administration. And that is exactly what he's done. And I stood with him when he said he was going to do that and make those promises, and I stand with him today.
TBD. Unlike Wilson, who has secured Florence Republican Senator Mike Rickenbach as his running mate, Evett said she's still engaging and connecting with folks, and again, hers is the name on the June 9th primary ballot. However, she said, stay tuned. My 8-ball, which if it was working, says it could be soon, but also that maybe she wants to win the primary on her own. Again, it's not working. I can't tell you. I'm just throwing ideas out here. But what has she learned from McMaster during her time alongside him these past few years?
So the biggest thing I've learned from the governor is that communication, cooperation, and collaboration means a lot. And you can see, because we've had win after win here in South Carolina and success after success, working alongside with the General Assembly to get things done. That's what the people of South Carolina expect. That's what they're used to. And that's how we've continued to grow and be the powerhouse that we are.
So that response butts up to what I've been asking all the gubernatorial candidates, Republicans and Democrats alike, what their approach to working with the legislature would look like. A lot of people want to know, guys. We've been talking about the governor's relationship with the legislature, and you've seen that in action. So now you want to know, whoever succeeds him, what's that going to look like? We just heard Evett talk about that, keeping that cooperation going. And to keep it with her, I asked her about this the first week of session when she made an appearance on the House floor. And here's what she said then.
Every year, this is my 8th year, I've come up here to the House and worked with friends, and that's my job. The governor and I put out an executive budget. The governor and I have policies we want to go through. And you know what? It's interesting because no matter where I go, I'm the lieutenant governor. And now no matter where I go, I'm running as a candidate. So I do my best to stay focused. If I walk into an event that's an official event, I don't talk about campaigning. Now, I can't stop somebody from asking me about the campaign when I'm somewhere official, right? That's just the way it works. But I work very hard to compartmentalize, but you'll see me working as hard this year to be the best lieutenant governor that this state has ever seen. It always warms my heart when the governor says I'm the best lieutenant governor in the country. And so I'm going to keep doing that. You know, we have an agenda. We're still, people of South Carolina are still paying me to be the lieutenant governor, and I'm going to do what I've done every year. I'm going to continue to make friends and continue to push policies we feel strongly about. And in the same breath, I'm going to run as hard as I've been running to be the next governor of the great state of South Carolina.
And that's how you see yourself leading to, if you were to become governor, just through these friendships, these connections, these relationships?
That's what business people will tell you. But, you know, as business people, we go to meet and greets because you want to make connections. And I think what that's done for me is it has let the people in the General Assembly know that I know what I'm talking about. I'm a successful business person, and when I bring an idea or something to them, it's not half-baked. I will put my name on it. I will stand in front of it. And people have to know that about you. They have to know your character is. And, you know, my dad used to always say, talk is cheap, but your actions show character.
Like I said a moment ago, Attorney General Alan Wilson has selected Senator Rickenbach to serve as his running mate, someone who has been in the Senate since 2022 and has relationships there as well as in the House. Last week, Wilson rolled out a policy proposal, the Family's First Audit Initiative, that would empower Rickenbach as his lieutenant governor to have oversight over proactive audits of state agencies and coordination with other state entities that are involved in such accountability measures. The initiative is to root out wasteful spending and create better efficiencies, but I asked Wilson about how he would work with lawmakers, something that he's been doing during his time as AG.
Well, first off, I fundamentally believe you can be an agent of change and an agent of reform without being an agent of chaos. Obviously, you have to push people out of their comfort zone in order for them to be more efficient, more innovative. And I intend to be the kind of governor that's going to push to go outside the box to reform the way we manage and run ourselves as a state government. But at the same time, I believe that we have to build consensus. We have to work with our colleagues in the legislative branch of government. As Attorney General, I have often gone to caucus meetings over the last 15 years, and I've spoken to the Republican caucus, the Democrat caucus, and even the Freedom Caucus. And when I speak to these caucuses, I generally say the same thing. There are going to be three kinds of issues that we encounter together. There are going to be issues in which we're in complete agreement. When we're in complete agreement, I'm going to be your best friend. I'm going to be your strongest ally. I will go to the mattress for you. When we're in slight disagreement, I'm going to always look for a compromise to negotiate an 80% solution where we can both walk away winners and still move the state forward. And in that third category of issue, we may take positions in where there is complete disagreement and our positions are irreconcilable. They cannot coexist together. In those cases, I will take off the mantle of friendship, put on the mantle of a boxer, and get into the boxing ring of ideas, not literally, of course. And we will have a match where we will box it out on the ideas that are before us. I may win the match, they may win the match, but when the match is over, I'm going to crawl out of the ring and I'm going to put on the mantle of friendship and shake their hand, because tomorrow that person that I disagreed with may be my best friend the very next day, and they may be my best friend on a completely unrelated issue. You cannot burn bridges in the governance of this state. You have to build consensus. You have to give people a leader that they can believe in. I believe that in one of the definitions of leadership that I've always ascribed to, leadership is the ability to get people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it. They will not do what you want them to do because they want to do it if you're attacking them constantly and calling them names and berating them. Can you make them uncomfortable? Can you push them outside the comfort zone? Of course you can, but you can do so in a way that is not chaotic, and that is what I intend to do as governor.
1st District Congresswoman Nancy Mace stood outside of the State House the week before the start of the legislative session as she began her rollout of legislative proposals that she would push during her first 100 days in office. The legislation that day was centered on cracking down on immigration enforcement and outlined so-called sanctuary sheriffs. I asked her about such legislation and how she would move it through the State House, something she knows is difficult as a prior member.
I would work with the legislature. I mean, I would work with them on drafting bills. We'd have weekly meetings on what we're working on to implement this agenda, finding what the challenges are. I would be very involved. I'm very hands-on. I don't even have a chief of staff. Like we have, like in my offices and in every race I've run, I have a very flat organization, and I like to be involved legislatively with policy, but also use the bully pulpit, but in a way that is constructive, not in a way that is detrimental to what's happening. As you saw yesterday, I called out Senate Judiciary, and I think people will get excited about what I'm proposing, and the pressure from the bully pulpit that I have, but also the people of South Carolina, educating them on what's going on and what's not happening, I think could be very exciting. And we've seen the ability of people to come together and really get things done. The child luring bill, the government master signed into law, was that a year or two ago, that Lee Hewitt had championed. I worked with him in the state legislature. That took 5 years, which is a miracle in this state. But it was due to pressure from the people of South Carolina that knew how ridiculous it was, that it wasn't kidnapping or against law to offer the kid candy and entice them to the car until you shut the car door. There was no luring provision that then local law enforcement and police could arrest the person for attempting to kidnap the kid. And so it took 5 years. I mean, that to me is a very short period of time. And so you'll see that kind of effort and engagement and passion. I'm very passionate about these issues. I've been successful. I've worked on legislation that's been signed into law. And so I want to bring that same energy right here to the state legislature.
5th District Congressman Ralph Norman held several press conferences in the State House in January, touting several of his proposed policy initiatives, including making his lieutenant governor the road czar. Justin Powell, if you're listening, let us know. Is that you? Now, Norman was at the State House the first week of session, days before that road czar press conference, calling for closed primaries, something other candidates support but has since stalled in the State House. I asked him, as a former member of the State House and political ally of former Governor Nikki Haley's, who had a frosty approach to the legislature that scorned her after following her calls for reforms, such as on-the-record voting, and her tenure was defined by her use of the bully pulpit via social media and press conferences. Now, Norman has repeatedly called out corruption in Columbia without really concrete examples, and has also been endorsed by members of the far-right House Freedom Caucus who have used controversial political tactics in an attempt to make policy changes.
You know, I think they're good people here. I've been up here. They're good people in Congress. But this is a time for action. This is a time for really effecting change. We're at a pivotal point. I see the New York groups coming down here because they're running from New York. I see the Californians coming to South Carolina. We got to protect it. And I would love the legislature to come along with us. One of the first things I will do is have small group meetings with Democrats and Republicans and say, let's help make this state the best it can be. And if you disagree with something, tell me. But we're going to work. I don't just say things and just let them lie. I could care less about the title of governor. I want to do something for the state, and we will do that.
Spartanburg Senator Josh Kimbrell, who has been in the Senate since 2021, told me there is a way to compromise with folks you don't always agree with.
Do it as a cooperative effort. You have to work as a quarterback. No, don't be a bully and don't be aloof. I mean, it's a collaborative effort. And I think this is a legislatively dominant state. It always has been, and you have to respect that reality and look at it as a quarterback. You've got to try to go rally the team on both sides. And I think one of the things that's happened in recent years is one extreme or the other. Either people want to bully. We saw that during the Sanford administration. No disrespect to the former governor, but he was kind of a bully. Or it's, I'll just sit back and sign what comes to me, and I don't know that works either. It has to be collaborative, but you got to have a deep respect for the institution of the Senate and the House, and that would be my approach.
And I guess since you've been in here, you know how it works too, so you've seen that side, you know what it takes to get things done too.
Absolutely. I mean, look, you got to respect the institutions and respect the fact that everybody here has their reasons for being here and their deep desires for being here and things they want to see done. If you have that respect and you can work with people, that you can get things accomplished. But it can't be this adversarial relationship and it can't be an aloof relationship. It's got to be engaged and respectful. That would be my approach.
Hopkins Democrat Representative Jermaine Johnson was chosen to give the Democratic message following McMaster's final State of the State address in late January. It's not uncommon for Democratic candidates to give this address, such as former Columbia Representative James Smith did. Obviously, it's a speech for the entire party, not just one person, but Johnson is also known for his ability to produce viral floor speeches that gain traction on social media. Something that could come in handy when it comes to fundraising as well as governing.
Well, because I've been in the House for, 3 terms now, I've got some experience dealing with these individuals. I've got personal relationships with everybody, not just Democrats. I have personal relationships with the people on the Republican side as well as the Freedom Caucus. And I have, plenty of relationships with the people on the Senate side. So I'll be working directly with them. I'm not going to be up there making, decisions by myself unilaterally. I'll be meeting with the both caucuses from the Senate and the House side to figure out what's the best path forward for South Carolina.
Jermaine, you've been here under Governor McMaster's leadership, so you've seen pretty much his style, but you also know about how predecessors have acted too.
do you maybe align more with what we see from the governor? Not saying you have to say you love him the best, but compared to what you've seen from other governors, do you think McMaster probably has a little bit more of a secret sauce or the right recipe for governing here?
Well, I think he does do a lot of communicating with the president and with the speaker, but I think we can do more more collaboration with everybody, with all the members, and have more of an open door policy with the members of the General Assembly. I think we need to have more of a communication style of working together because everybody's district is different, so everybody have a different constituency. So I think we need to actually be addressing every community that's here in South Carolina.
And on Wednesday, I scooted up to Greenville to meet Charleston lawyer Mullins McLeod, the other Democrat who has announced his run for the nomination. McLeod has been crisscrossing the state holding meetings and talking with folks, including about a dozen members of the Greenville Democratic Party that evening. Here's what he told me.
Yeah, so we've been told for years that the governor is a weak position. And so what we've seen is our governors don't do a whole lot during the legislative session. You follow me? That is because it has been a symptom of corruption. The governors that we've had in my lifetime, the truth is they've been bought and paid for by the for-profits. Just go back and look at their financial disclosures. I'm the first person, to my knowledge, in my lifetime or longer to run for governor who has not taken the donor class's money. So the office of governor has tremendous power. You are the voice of the people of South Carolina. Why is it that our governors don't go all around the state having town halls during the legislative session, letting voters know what is going on, how these foreign for-profits are trying to rig the deal? They don't do it because they're in on the deal. I will live in town halls all over the state sounding the alarm. They're trying to rig the deal again. They're refusing to pay our teachers what our teachers deserve to be paid. And here is your legislator's phone number and email. And oh, by the way, here's an exhibit to show his or her financial disclosures which prove they're bought and paid for by the for-profits. Here's the good thing about politicians. They're very predictable. They will fold like cheap suits. When the people of South Carolina has a servant leader like me to be their voice, this state is going to see real change, lasting change. And there's no doubt in my mind about that.
So let's go back to the State House and get some action from Week 5. That's right. The Senate on Tuesday passed Senate Education Committee Chairman Greg Hembree's bill to increase transparency in ethics rules for the state's charter school program and its authorizers. S454 would also end the practice of authorizer shopping where unsatisfactory schools hop to other authorizers that will accept them. A school needs a school district or a university to essentially sponsor them through this process. That's an authorizer. And now, with only 1 day's worth of true debate, the Senate unanimously passed the bill out of the chamber, sending it to the House, where House Education and Public Works Chairwoman Shannon Erickson has already declared that will be a priority.
Wow.
Teamwork. Hembree's proposal also includes several measures that would increase oversight of charter schools, authorizers, and for-profit management companies that can handle a school's payroll and budget and other operations. It would also enhance transparency of those authorizers in schools, aligning them more with traditional public school disclosures, because there have been plenty of reports of some interesting dealings between these charter schools and authorizers and other companies. Next up, a House Judiciary Subcommittee advanced three liquor-related bills on Tuesday that are no stranger to the lower chamber. H. 3857, sponsored by Judiciary Chairman Weston Newton, would allow for licensed retailers to offer curbside beer, wine, and liquor sales and limited delivery within the same or contiguous zip code as the store. This legislation creates strict regulations who can deliver the alcohol and would require training, a driver to be at least 21 years old, and ID verification technology. H. 4001, which is sponsored by Representative Mark Smith, would allow local governments to put a referendum on the ballot asking voters whether they would like to allow alcohol sales from 1 to 5 p.m. on Sundays. If rejected by voters county-wide, municipalities within the county would be allowed to do their own ballot referendums. Several liquor store owners testified that they've lost revenue from a lack of sales on Sunday, especially in tourism-heavy areas. Now, the House on Wednesday passed legislation that would give the governor full appointment power over who sits on the judicial screening panel. I know you guys are probably like, great, cool. Well, this is just one of those topics that you'll be hearing about on the campaign trail. The vote on H. 4755 fell mainly on political party lines, pushing the bill over to the Senate. Now, this proposal removes legislators from the 10-member Judicial Merit Selection Commission, or JMSC, as we call it around here, JMSC, which screens and approves candidates for a handful of judicial seats from family and circuit courts all the way up to the state Supreme Court.
Wow.
See? That affects you. These guys pick them. Instead, the JMSC would expand to 12 seats and the governor would choose all the members. None can be a legislator, and the spouse or family member of a sitting lawmaker would be ineligible. The legislation requires term limits and also notes that factors like race, gender, religion, or any other diversity, equity, inclusion criteria cannot be used in the process of nominations and appointments. And under a change made on Wednesday, the bill would require that the Senate, which chooses magistrate judges, would send magistrate candidates to the JMSC for a review of their qualifications. The JMSC would then send their report to the governor and Senate, and the governor would make the appointment, and the Senate would decide whether to confirm. In a unanimous 103 vote to 0, the House passed H. 5006, which was sponsored by Representative Brandon Newton, which would offer small businesses a tax break, exempting the first $10,000 from business personal property taxes, and also offers a tax break to certain companies if their headquarters are located in South Carolina. And one more little tidbit talking about taxes. The Senate on Wednesday began its great tax debate, starting with S768, sponsored by Senate Finance Committee Chairman Harvey Peeler, that would expand the state's homestead exemption law to $150,000 for anyone age 65 and up, but with limits on newcomers to the state. Transplant tax. The debate is expected to stretch far into next week as amendments are piling up. The House income tax bill should follow immediately after, and if the Senate passes it with no changes, the legislation will go straight to the governor's desk for a signature. Again, another topic that we're hearing on the campaign trail, taxes. And on the way out, U.S. Senators Lindsey Graham and Sheldon Whitehouse, a Democrat from Rhode Island, are leading a bipartisan congressional delegation, or CODAL, to this weekend's Munich Security Conference, MSC. The event features hundreds of leaders and decision makers from around the world, including U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The MSC is widely considered the world's leading forum for international security policy, and Graham goes every year. Sadly, we are not in Germany since we blew our budget again on Davos, but that was worth $999. I'm actually going to learn German, I swear. Welcome to the wind down section, our little break from the news. We're glad you're here along with A.T. Shire, lead podcast producer.
Hello, folks. I am here. It's true. All the rumors are true. Check that 8-ball, Gavin.
He's covered
in... it's broken. Oh,
baby
no.
sped up.
Oh, God. He's got so many fluids from his child on him. Gavin, one thing I'm also swimming in. We got a call. Okay, folks. Okay, we got a call. It's a question for you.
Oh. So we've already known about the 8-ball. So
I know we're supposed to hey, we're supposed to be winding down, okay?
I'll ramp up.
Call me Gavin. Mr. Jackson's my dad, okay?
Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
This caller's putting you back to work, so if you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Gavin. Love the show. I'd love to hear what role the Freedom Caucus has had in this legislative session, particularly if they've had any stances on the DUI bill or their stances on some of the data center reforms. It seems like they've been pretty quiet this legislative session. So what are they up to?
Thank you for calling our mystery caller. Good question.
Thank you for only talking to Gavin, too, by the way. Okay. I'm also here, but that's fine. Gavin is the star.
He's talking
take it away, Gavin.
To the message. Yeah, I mean, it really has been kind of mum from the Freedom Caucus because usually, like in the beginning of the session during January, there's always like these rival press conferences going on, right? Where everyone's talking about their agendas and their
heated
items.
Rivals.
Heated rivalry going on, which I still haven't seen because I don't.
Well, why would I watch
that?
Yeah, I don't even know where it is.
But yeah, there was no House Freedom Caucus presser talking about, hey, here's our legislative agenda for the year.
Yeah.
Looking back and kind of talking about how we heard from Ralph Norman earlier in January. He was there talking about those closed primaries. So that was a big issue that they did talk about. But again, we saw that kind of immediately stall and die when we had that audio from Brandon Newton talking about that. So, I mean, that's kind of the extent. Like, you're not seeing much traction. I've been talking to people about that, and you haven't seen many things moving. So it has been a bit quiet. I haven't heard much about the data center situation or the DUI bill, but that DUI bill is now over in the House. So we might be hearing some more about that.
But Mystery Caller, you are right. Notoriously a group that you hear from.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, the budget debate's going to start ramping up. That's always a prime opportunity. Some of those tactics we were talking about was talking about amendments to the budget, so that could be a time to hear from them. But also, I mean, look at where we are. We are in post-RJ May conviction world, and there were some questionable dealings brought up in an ethics report involving some current members previously tied to, I should say, to RJ. So there's some questions. I don't think they're that popular right now. Not that they've always really been popular because of the consternation that they cause to other Republicans specifically, but I think it's not a time to probably give others ammunition. So they're maybe just kind of keeping their heads down, doing what they want to do and trying to advance amendments here and there as they've been doing during some of the bigger debates. But that's kind of the extent of it right now.
Well, thank you, Mystery Caller. Please call back and let us know. What do you go by, Mystery Man? Okay, but thank you for calling.
Give that name. So I was up in Greenville. I love going around the state. It's like I just went up to go see Mullins McLeod, like I talked about in the pod.
Sure.
And I'm telling people, I'm going to go up. And it's like, oh my God, you're going to drive up. Like, time really doesn't matter much during the session.
You're talking to a new father, so time does not matter to me.
A 2-hour drive for a 30-minute event and a 2-hour return drive. What is time?
Yep.
I'm just jamming the whole time.
Yeah.
But, I hit Greenville right around rush hour. And it's not as bad as Charleston, but it's not like Columbia. Of course, like even in Columbia, I left and I'm going through Malfunction Junction around 4, so that's already building.
Disgusting.
The drive was okay, but then you get to Greenville and it's like chaos, and it wasn't quite like Somerville to Charleston Charleston to Somerville.
Still a lot of people up there.
But you're like, oh boy, like if you want to move to a place,
oh brother, Gavin, he pulled his collar and steam came out. It was
you really got to go and visit it during rush hour. And
his eyes turned into a slot machine.
Like you and me, we are fortunate that we live close to work. We don't have to deal with much traffic.
It truly is.
But during the time there in the late summer, fall, like I was going out to hike Centennial Park, Sesqui to friends, and you have to get on the interstate for a little bit. I'm like, there actually is a little bit of a rush hour in traffic, and it's more volume. It's not complete gridlock like DC where I'm from, but like Jersey. I'm like, we don't have that
Jersey's
yet.
Jersey's terrible, yeah.
And I don't think Columbia will ever really.
But you see it coming.
Point.
You're 8-ball if it were working.
Yeah. I mean, you keep developing, and that's what happens. You get more people to move, you get the growth, et cetera. But if you're not doing it smartly, you are just jamming these roads. And I'm sure some of our listeners down in Charleston don't need us to tell them twice about that. And you got a lot of people from areas that are like, this is nothing compared to back home. Well,
it's getting worse.
For people who are not used to it, it sure is. And that's what's happening.
Just one more lane, though. Don't talk about public transit. Just one more lane is going to fix it, folks.
If there's room for it. It was wild driving around Greenville, but I enjoy going up there and seeing the sights. And, it's always good to touch because every couple months, you're like, it just keeps growing. Like I just saw a new hospital going up. I'm like, how's that going?
I found a good hoagie place up there too. It's called like Harry's Hoagies or something like that. That's where I got profiled as being from New Jersey. And they were correct.
They snuffed you out.
They were so right. They just kept telling me more facts about it. And I was like, okay. And then they just like, where are you from? And I was like, I didn't say anything. I didn't have anything on. They profiled me. But one hell of an Italian, let me tell you what. Not for nothing, great Italian. Okay,
I gotta go in a minute. The only stop I made was at the Spinks.
Yeah.
And I got a road fridge cigarette, Diet Coke.
AKA Diet Coke, yeah.
Fountain Diet Coke.
Fountain is a little different.
And I didn't do a full-blown fried chicken sandwich because I'm trying to space those ones out, but I did get a little snack wrap, which was just a chicken tender wrapped in like a tortilla.
The last thing I'm going to say here, folks, before I make him say the credits, is I don't know what this man would do if he had regular access to a Wawa. Okay? Like, the way that your diet would go even further downhill than the rock bottom it's at is crazy.
Especially if I had to drive past it every day. Well, I just had to pop in.
And just ordering on a screen, like you would, the efficiency he would move, no wasted motions before a sandwich shot out and he got to eat it would be crazy.
I mean, if we're talking about social media obsession, could you imagine the Wawa connection?
But, oh my God!
So good, so far, so good. We're we're not connected to it, the gas station culture yet, but I'm sure it's coming.
It's coming. Anyway, folks, I'm learning
What are you
today.
eating?
I'm learning today it's Friday, so have a good weekend, okay?
President's Day weekend. We'll be back on Tuesday, don't worry. We don't take President's
Normal
Day off.
time, okay.
Give us a shout like our mystery man at 803-563-7169. We'd love hearing from you guys. You don't have to leave your name. It's okay. We'll give you a nickname if you want. Oh, you really don't have a choice, I guess, but we'll be respectful. We promise. And you can stay up to date with the latest news on SCETV.org and SouthCarolinaPublicRadio.org. And don't forget to support your local newspapers. The South Carolina Lead is a production of South Carolina Public Radio. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Amy Crouch is our supervising producer. Sean Birch is our executive producer. This podcast is produced with support from PRX and is made possible in part by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, as well as listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina. For the South Carolina Lead, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina. Did I interrupt a monologue?
No, my friend's son just broke his leg.
Hey.
And he likes Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions.
So you sent a video?
I'm just sending him audio clips. And he goes, I want to know how that guy really talks. And so I'm like, yo, dude, this is my real voice. Don't worry, I don't sound like Arnold. No way. This is it. Go Birds. Fire Kevin Patullo.
Kid's never going to know the truth.